Good morning, Zimbabwe. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining us to this special program, a tribute to Dr. Magaisa, Dr. Alex Tawanda Magaisa, who passed away in the United Kingdom in Kent. But before we get into that, let me allow my co-host, Leader Barbara, to come in and greet our viewers and listeners. This is indeed a sad moment. Barbara.
Yes, Chief, how are you? It is a sad moment indeed. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabwe, from wherever you are. Yebo kambe mthwakazi omuhle lingabe livuka njani latshona njani. Siyahlangana njalo sihlangana esikhathini esibuhlungu lapho esikhumbula khona iqhawe lethu uDr. Alex Tawanda Magaisa, yena ositshiye ngesonto ekuseni. Angani umoya wakhe ungalala ngoxolo. Sithe njenge Change Radio sibuye phela sizomkhumbula. Siyathemba abaningi yamazi uDr. Alex Magaisa, umuntu owayeqakathekile empilweni zethu, ngumuntu owayekhona ukusifundisa ngamalungelo wethu, ngumuntu owayelwela uzibuse eZimbabwe, ngumuntu owayelobuntu, ngumuntu owayekhuthele, umuntu owayengazigqaji, uyazi umuntu owaye down to earth. Silahlekelwe izihlobo zami, siyakhala lemuli yakoMagaisa. Angani uNkulunkulu ngabakhokhela abayenzile kuhle. Sizalitshela ngokuthi iprogram yakhe izahamba njani ekupheleni kweprogram yethu. Thank you. Over to you, Chief Shoshe.
Thank you very much. Indeed, this is a tribute to one of the best sons of the soil that I've ever heard to talk about. We have ever heard to talk about great brains. I think you all know who Dr. with Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai. I don't know what's going on to this internet. When he was working with Dr. Richard.
Yes, I don't know what's happening with Chief 𝙖𝙙𝙙𝙖𝙙𝙬's internet. Today, Chief 𝙖𝙙𝙙𝙬 seems to be in Uzumba Maramba Pfungwe. He's gonna join us later. I know he's fixing his internet. Over to you, Comrade Tarisai. Do you have anything that we can show people as we wait for Chief 𝙖𝙙𝙬 to come? Talk about great Zumba Maramba Pfungwe. He's gonna join us later.
Stepped down after 37 years to the ex-Prime Minister and opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai, and he joins us now from London. Thanks so much for joining us, Alex. Now, according to family members, President Mugabe's wife, Grace, has said that she could be in danger if he
refusing to go. They are, stubborn. This is the arrogance that we have come to expect from them. Obviously, people are angry, and it puts their security at risk as well.
Now, you talk about this arrogance. Do you think there is any lingering support for the Mugabes?
Well, Mugabe has been in charge for 7 years, and during that period of time, he has created a group of people who play on. But I think that a lot of people are now no longer willing to be associated with him or his government. And a lot of people have already jumped ship to support his rivals in his party. And I think if there are any people who are supporting him, they are very much in the minority, and they would not be able to withstand the force that we are seeing today.
Alex, we've been watching people cheering the soldiers in the streets. Do you think they're putting too much trust in the army, and could they even come to possibly regret the military takeover?
Well, a military coup is not a picnic. When you get a military government, then you have to expect that things will not be the same as in a civilian regime. A lot of people are happy to see Mr. Mugabe being kicked out of power because he's been there for too long, because he has failed, because they are frustrated. But there is also the risk that having a military regime or a regime that is backed by the military could have its own very serious problems. And Zimbabweans obviously need to take caution.
Well, my apologies for that. There are people that are calling me on a messenger and they want to come on the program, but I've told them to call on WhatsApp. Yes, I was just about to tell you about what we know about Dr. Magaisa, that he was born on 10 August 1975. All this time when you're seeing Dr. Magaisa on the platforms, I thought he was an old man. I thought he was even older than me. The way he would talk, the way he would present, the wisdom that he exhumed, you would not realize that he was only 46. Yes, he was born in 1975 and near my home area in Chikomba. And guess who else came from that area, Chikomba? Mr. Dewa Mavinga. Again, may Mr. Dewa Mavinga's soul rest in peace. These were two people from the same home area who have been taken away from us, and two people that contributed a lot to the liberation of Zimbabwe, to our struggle, the fourth Chimurenga. Barbara, do you know that Dr. Magaisa came from the same area with Dewa Mavinga in Chikomba village?
Yes, yes, I know very well, Chief. How can I not know that? Do you know that Dr. Magaisa is my brother? Same totem, Sawe, the Diwa totem, the big people.
Yes.
Yes, why Bakunjanja? You know what, Chief? There's something that is so amazing about people that come from that area, Buhera, Chivu, Buhera, Mutare, you know.
Wedza, don't go to Mtare before you come to Wedza. It's
Of
Chikoma,
course,
then
of,
Wedza.
of course, whether iripoka and Nyazura also. There's something that is very peculiar about people that come from that area, and I understand even wana Patson, right? Same area.
Patson ndio kwamurewa. I mean, Imash East, yes, but Patson angari kwamurewa. That's no. But
Yeah, it's much east. Yeah.
yes, it's all much East.
Yeah.
That's Dewa, my homeboy again, and my next door neighbor, another great mind that passed, a few months ago. So Dr. Tawanda Alex Magaisa was born in 1975, and he was a Zimbabwean academic. He went to the University of Zimbabwe, and then later went to the United Kingdom for his PhD, and up to present day, until the time of his death, he was a lecturer of law at the Kent Law University, one of the best law universities in the United Kingdom. As you know, he served as the advisor, chief of staff of the then Prime Minister of Zimbabwe, Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai. May his soul rest in peace. That was from 2012 to 2013. And prior to becoming advisor to the Prime Minister, Magaisa had been working as a core member of a team of experts tasked to advise on the drafting of the new constitution of Zimbabwe. At this point, I want to bring in again Barbara to talk about the work of Dr. Magaisa, for his contribution to the constitution that we have today. If you think about the constitution, Barbara, the first that we have had as in present day, in post-independence, he was one of the people that worked among other law experts in Zimbabwe to come up with this constitution. What an amazing man, what a talented man that we had.
Yes, indeed, he was very talented chief. Being an intellectual, he was very instrumental in the constitution making process in 2013. And I have to attest that we have the best constitution. We had the best constitution in 2023. Remember, Emerson Mnangagwa has amended that constitution, removing the good things that the people like Wanama Gaisa made an effort to be there in the constitution. How said, how said, Magaisa once said, Kuti, Anzi, we should be able, one day we should be able to cite the constitution, or maybe to recite the constitution the way we do with other instruments, like maybe the Bible, quoting the Bible. We should be able to quote the constitution freely. That time the constitution will be in full use. Remember, Chief, that these days, or maybe the Zimbabwe that we are in now, you cannot quote the constitution. The constitution is not even recognized. The constitution is being butchered, is being bastardized. The constitution, you talk of all the ills that are happening under the constitution. Mnangagwa regime does not even respect the constitution, there is a lot of lawlessness in the ZANU-PF government. So Wamagaisa, as he was affectionately known, even his Twitter handle is known as Wamagaisa. He's that kind. He's the man who was advising the COPAC team. You remember kuti isusu we were being led by Douglas Monzora. So Magaisa was Monzora's advisor. And chief, people, people ukatengesa. So if you sell out, ndarwadziwa by this tweet that I saw when Monzora was paying his condolences to the Magaisa family, to say he worked well with Magaisa, he was a fine man, he was instrumental in the constitution making process. And then there was someone who responded to say, wachisiya iwewe namadhuku, meaning kuti God takes the best. Why did God take Magaisa and leaving Munzora and Maduku? It's not nice. If people respond like that openly, it shows something. People should repent. Chief, you should never go against the people, because people always talk. Kana munhu achirwadziwa, so chief haambofa akataura mashoko akanaka over you, and that's not nice. Munhu mutema kana akataura, if he speaks evil of you, unoita munyama, chief.
Yeah, aungamboregedza kuti munyama. And talking about that, I saw something very sad on social media. I don't know what is it with us as Zimbabweans. There are some people from ZANU-PF that were even celebrating the death of Dr. Magaisa. They were saying, oh, there goes another sanctions supporter. And they even made a poster about that. What happened to our Ubuntu? What happened to the spirit of humanity? That you even celebrate the death of someone, the death of a man. Even when Robert Mugabe died, as much as he did to the people of Zimbabwe, the cruelty, the people that he killed, the people that he made disappear, and the poverty that is apportioned to Zimbabwe because of his poor policies. When Mugabe died, people still mourned him, because that's who we are as a people. We are people because of defining habits like that. That when someone is gone away, when someone has been taken by the Lord, you bury the hatchet. You bury the hatchet, even if he was your enemy. That's why in Shona we have this saying that says, munafirwa hatariswi kumeso. Kureva kuti chero wanga wakanetsana nemunhu, wakarimirana kumuganu nemunhu, makavengana, musi waanenge afirwa kana kuti ashaya, maakutotarisana, maakutotaurana zvakanaka, unotosvika wobata maoko. That's what we do in our African culture. That's what Zimbabweans do. But we are seeing some ZANU-PF members, and I don't know what word I can use to describe, such kind of behavior. They are now all over social media blaming and attacking Dr. Magaisa. If Leo, you can play one of these videos where Dr. Magaisa was interviewed by the SABC, and he was explaining the issue of sanctions. He was never an advocate or someone who went around the world asking for sanctions. Nobody ever did. This is just ZANU-PF. This is just ZANU-PF using sanctions against the opposition. In fact, we have a saying from him in that video where he says ZANU-PF uses sanctions as a weapon against the opposition. If you can play that video where he's talking about sanctions, being interviewed about by the SABC.
It's up to the Zimbabwean government to demonstrate that it is necessary to do so. And I think that there are huge opportunities that Zimbabwe could use, and Zimbabwe has had massive opportunities since 2017 with the change of government after the coup. But unfortunately, they have shot themselves in the foot, especially with the violence that is taking place over the years, 2018, that election, 2019, and now we see again the head of violence, coming up and becoming a threat to the political environment, which is quite sad.
All right, help our viewers a little bit, because sanctions is quite a topical story, and one.
Well, the sanctions were imposed in the early 2000s. We are now, almost more than 20 years after.
You can remove the picture. We're not seeing the video.
Time when Zimbabwe was going through many serious challenges, including the land reform program, which was chaotic and violent. And of course, these countries also had a vested interest in what was happening. They were not happy with the violation of private property rights and decided to make their presence felt. But there was also huge amounts of political violence in the country. And this has continued over the years. The sanctions were described as strategic sanctions. In other words, they were targeting specific people, specific companies. I've always held a critical view on the issue of sanctions on the basis that, in my opinion, ZANU-PF has always and was always going to be very adept at using sanctions as a weapon. And what we have seen over the last 20 years is ZANU-PF successfully using the argument of sanctions to put the opposition in a very difficult spot.
See, there was Dr. Magaisa being interviewed by the SABC explaining the cause of sanctions, and there was no one who could or who have explained this better than Dr. Magaisa, and he pointed the reasons why sanctions were imposed, to the ZANU-PF government, and chief among them is the chaotic land reform program, that showed that Zimbabwe had no respect to rule of property, to the property law, and that's something that Dr. Magaisa always used to talk about. That for Zimbabwe to get out of the sanctions, they need to respect property rights, and they need to restore democracy in Zimbabwe, enact electoral reforms, and also ensure that they stop corrupt activities. And those were the reasons that caused sanctions to be put in the first place. Nobody, no one, not Dr. Magaisa, not President Chamisa, not Vice President Tendai Biti, ever invited sanctions in Zimbabwe. And like you're seeing there, that famous quotation by Dr. Magaisa, ZANU-PF uses sanctions as a weapon to attack the opposition. But it is a myth. It is not true that Zimbabwe is where it is because of sanctions. We are where we are because of maladministration, massive corruption, and disrespect of Zimbabwean people's human rights by the Zimbabwean government. That's the reason we are where we are. But we saw, Barbara, over and over again, ZANU-PF hiding behind sanctions. Even up to today, they hide behind sanctions. They still, spread the propaganda to the people of Zimbabwe, even to the international community, saying that Zimbabwe is where it is because of sanctions. But like Dr. Magaisa was explaining in that video, sanctions, these sanctions that we have are individualized sanctions. There are special sanctions that have been given to the people, to certain individuals in ZANU-PF. So there's no way we are where we are because of sanctions.
Yeah.
So it's not because of sanctions. That Zimbabwe is in this chaotic economic situation, horrible economic, very painful economic situation. So those who want to call, we're opening the call, and those who want to call and talk about the life of Dr. Magaisa, please Call on my number 850-559-6287. There are people that were calling me at the beginning of the program. If you want to come in, please do not use Messenger. Just call on that number. As we move on discussing the life of this great man, the great man from the East, Mash East, Chikomba district in Zimbabwe. And he actually went to school at one of the best schools during that time. Our time, St. Francis Assisi was a very well-known school that produced many prominent Zimbabweans, many prominent professionals across our country. And as we said, he graduated in 1997 with a Bachelor of Laws degree. And he went on to, make a life of his law degree, then ending up in the United Kingdom, where he became a law professor. Barbara.
Yeah, I don't want to add or to subtract to what you've been saying. I was thinking, I'm now thinking ahead. I want us to talk about the works, the great works that Magaisa was doing. Chief, I'll miss Saturday will never be the same. Every day or early Saturday morning, the first thing I'll be looking for the BSR, the Big Saturday Read. And he was a good writer. Sometimes you'll be writing, advising CCC what to do. You'll be even the by-elections. He had a lot of topics every Saturday. Chief, can you manage to do that with every Saturday? And I would want to believe that he did not start on Saturday. He did not do it maybe on Friday night, but you will start maybe on a Monday, the writing and then producing it on a Saturday. So, which means, besides his busy schedule at Kent University, Wamagaisa was a writer, an author, and he had a busy schedule as well with the family. I don't even I don't come to think how
Barbara, we got a caller here, and a prominent one. That's Mr. Simba Chikanza. He lives in the United Kingdom, and I know he has interviewed and interacted with Dr. Magaisa on a number of times on different forums. Mr. Simba Chikanza, thank you so much for joining us. If you can just spend a few minutes talking to us about this great man, Dr. Alex Magaisa.
Oh, thank you, Chief. Let me start by saying we've got one of our saddest periods in the history of our country, when we are suddenly hit by the knowledge of such a great loss to our nation, a mind of knowledge, a man who used to challenge all of us. We may not like what he posted from time to time here and there, but a man who used to make so many people think deep further, dig deeper. And just judging by the responses from across the political, the social, the cultural divide, people find Alex Magaisa to be, I won't say to have been or to in the past tense. I say this in the present continuous tense because Alex lives on. They find Alex to be a man who tried his best to mirror the views of the people, of the masses. And Chief, before I just go into what I wanted to say, someone poked me at the side and was saying, did you know that Alex Magaisa, dear Magaisa, Magaisa Anot, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is true. Could be true, and apparently this person is a very prominent person who was telling me, quite that 80s, you know, 80s, 90s, angakapfeka butsu so dzakadziri dzakaita maranganya so achingoti aingobuda nekamwe statement wa statements tungori challenging. So it is claimed that that was actually Alex. I don't know if that is true because I know Alex at a personal level from the 90s. Myself, Lenmo Jongwe, and a few other people, including President Nelson Chamisa, were living Tsvangirai court in the 90s and 1998, 99, 2000, when Alex eventually got his scholarship to go to the United Kingdom. So he left all of us earlier. And, you know, back in those days, you could tell, look, Alex was a quiet fella. Sometimes you talk, he was quite sociable, but a bit quiet, and he would only speak when it is opportune, many times. I mean, I'm not saying he was perfect, please understand me, but he had his own unique character. And, you know, in those days, you could still tell that Alex is going somewhere. So when I eventually came to the United Kingdom in 2004, and I found Alex already here, or he was already here for over 5 or so years, and we never met until I became his publisher of his articles before he went to work for Tsvangirai to become his advisor from 2012, 2013. And, you know, we continued here and there working together. And, you know, Chief, in life, you may not always agree. And, you know, those things are normal. I guess, you know, when he got into political office here and there, and, you know, friendships, sometimes they change. But still, Alex remained who he is, Alex. When he eventually came back from Zimbabwe, flew back to the UK, you know, we continued like that. Still, Alex, and you know, now he was setting his career, and I still have his email that he sent me. It was actually a Facebook email inbox that he sent me, and he was saying to me that, look, Simba, now this time I'm now running my blog, and I'm going to be communicating my views here, and yeah, you know, so he was now branching out, so his career was going to be focused on the BSLR. That was around 2013, 2015 there. And ever since then, you know, Alex devoted his time to be an agenda setter for Zimbabwean issues. I think he was also trying to bring his academic career, merge it with the experience that he'd had in government and politics, and to try his best to make the best that he could make use of that, so that it would be beneficial to the community. And Chief, you know, I want to say, no matter the differences we can have in society, in our growth here, and in our public engagement and the service that we're bringing to the community, one thing that always unites us is the mission to free the masses. You know, but
and talking about that, Simba, there are people, what kind of words do you have for some ZANU-PF activists who have been posting on social media saying there goes another sanction supporter? You know, they talked about Dewa, and now they're talking about Dr. Magaisa, not even remorseful. Is that what we do in our culture?
Well, Chief, for start here, Alex never called for sanctions. Alex never supported sanctions at all, at any time. And this is a fact. The people who we know, they are calling for sanctions. They are daily, and doing so, making our country to go under sanctions. We know who they are. And I wanted to say here, these are just petty worthless, useless play of words that are even disastrous to our economy. And this whole talk about sanctions really should shame. It should shame us. Because when you look at it in history, anyone who complains about sanctions, they prove to be not even, they prove that they are less humans. I'm saying humans in the sense of they are thinking, kufunga kwabo kuri sub, because the people who have run this country and who turned it from a bush to become a nation of cities and towns here, they never complained about sanctions. They actually benefited from sanctions. And and we're talking real sanctions here. If we're talking about international sanctions, kwete is 𝙤𝙤𝙙𝙖𝙢𝙗𝙤, which is not even sanctions. And whoever is writing this, I refer them to the letter that a former Tanzanian minister wrote to Robert Mugabe in 1980, when he announced that, Robert Mugabe, you have inherited a good country. Ian Smith was able to make this country thrive because of sanctions and in sanctions. You are better off with UN sanctions. This is a minister who had served in government and had seen Tanzania transform for more than 10, if not 20 or so years from colonialism. He had seen how governments are run. And he said, look, your country is better off if you have UN sanctions. And Zimbabwe doesn't even have even a caution from the UN. Nothing. Right now. But a minister is saying, look, you're better off. Why? Because sanctions will make you to look within. If they're there, they will make you to look within your resources, within what you have, so that you focus on building your country. Look at Russia right now. We all don't agree with what's happening in Russia. We all don't agree. Most of us don't agree with what the Russians are doing to Ukraine. But what are the Russians doing? They are using the very same sanctions to look within and see how they can produce from within. And now they're demanding that whoever buys this from us, they have to pay in rubles. Whoever buys this, you see, right now, Mnangagwa cannot say, if you want to buy grain from my country, you want to buy gold, buy it in Zim dollars. But the same person will come to you, the black Zimbabweans locally, and say, you use Zim dollars. But when it comes to when he's selling our gold to foreigners, he wants what? He wants the foreigners to pay in US dollars.
Yes.
So you see, that is the foolishness. Kana apano tengesa gold rate, that demand $1 so that we can build our value. You see, so this is the fallacy. This is the foolishness. With this whole sanctions talk. I used to sanctions are there is nothing going on in our country that you could even complain about other than mismanagement, corruption, vote rigging, destroying our own country, destroying our cities, from literally at an instruction level, instructing ZANU-PF supporters to destroy our cities because they are run by the opposition. Instructing the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to change figures, instructing soldiers to change figures, just so that you can punish, you can always bring the opposition under. That is the greatest sanction. Our country is one of the best in the world. Zimbabwe is one of the best in the world. And Ian Smith proved this in the middle of sanctions and a bloody war within. Sanctions from outside, a bloody war within, and so many challenges, cultural and all sorts, but proved it. And our nation in 1976 became the fastest growing the world's fastest growing crop economy, according to the UN World Book figures. I was listening to a BBC discussion last night, and I tried to record it. I'm hoping that they will repeat it. It was on radio. And they were actually they were comparing Ukraine with Zimbabwe. They were saying Ukraine is the breadbasket of the Soviet Union, right? And they said you can compare Ukraine with Zimbabwe because these two countries, they are They are food giants. This is what was on BBC, because they are food giants. And Russia has an interest in both countries. Russia during the Rhodesian War was funding weapons, right? Funding terrorists, right? To sabotage the economy, yeah? And they succeeded, eventually giving what? Giving the country to so-called independence, right? And then same thing again, well, in a different way. This time the Russians are they're physically on the ground, right? Destroying Ukraine, trying to disable a whole government. But the point that was being brought there was, look at these two countries. They are both economic giants when it comes to food production. And you know, the point that I'm trying to bring here is our country is one of the best in the world. Yeah, our country is too good, too rich. Even in the midst of the trash that's going on right now, our country is too amazing. Zimbabwe, there's nowhere else you could live. Saka, these people, they should be ashamed of themselves. About sanctions. Chief, I don't want to talk too much, but I just want to say here, Chief, the time that we're in is a time of reflection. And I've got a statement here that was written by an elder in the legal profession who knew Alex, like at a personal level from their times, 𝐋𝐖𝙙𝙙𝙙𝙬𝙬 and the like. But this one is a senior who I knew. I'll just read a portion. They were together, Nana, Lenmo, Jongwe, and the like. And it's a very powerful one. Maybe I shouldn't, Chief. I think maybe I can talk about it later on upon I reflect. Because you know how it is when people who know someone, when they're now saying things, but it's a very powerful account and very, very deep. Yeah, very, very deep. And he's actually saying, Kuti, we let Alex down, something like that. Do you get me, right?
Yes.
Kuti Anzi, young people, because he's older. He's older in the profession. So, yeah, he was saying, Kuti Anzi, what is my point? We are throwing in very young people into positions of power to build a nation. And we do so little to help build their muscle. Unfortunately, Zimbabweans are nice. We don't say the truth. We all move on, and such is life. But there are days I think Alex spread himself too quickly.
Right, Simba. As we round up, your last words on what's going on in Zimbabwe and what you think our political spectrum will be like without the likes of Dewa Mavinga, Alex Magaisa. Looks like the good people, the people that could have taken Zimbabwe to another level, supporters of the movement, people that could advise President Chamisa without, wanting to get something in return. This is someone who would maybe not be soliciting for a position. He was advising just for the love of the country, just like Dewa Mavinga was doing. Very quickly and very shortly, what do you think will be, what will be happening to our political spectrum?
Yeah, I think we have a challenge here. We have a challenge that we've lost. I don't want to say we are losing because look, we are not going to have any more losses. I refuse that we'll have any more losses. This is but I just want to say that we have a challenge. I think the country has a challenge. I also think, Chief, that those that remain right now need to be action-based. I think Zimbabweans, we've done a lot of talk. We've done a lot of analysis. I think action. But Zimbabweans now need to be executors of the freedom that they daily analyze. Because, the freedom, we already have state power. And our challenge is that we are not exercising it. And I want to encourage Zimbabweans, let's start doing this as much as we can. Find any opportunity that you can to exercise state power. And I know this is an area that a lot of people might find strange, but it's something that soon I can talk about. But I feel that the best way to honor these giants who have left here is to start exercising state power now. Practicalize what they have been preaching, what they've been writing all this while, and this is the only way you will empower us journalists to write positive stories and real progress that is happening. The progress is already there. But the thing is, the people are not practicing it. Practice the progress that you already have. Let me cut and go.
All right. Thank you very much, Simba. We appreciate that was the voice of Simbachi Kanza, one of our journalists here in the diaspora, based in the United Kingdom. He knew Dr. Alex Magaisa on a personal level, living together in the United Kingdom. Barbara, I know you were talking before Simba joined, you're talking about the big Saturday read. Yeah, that's something that we are never going to forget. In fact, I can announce that Change Radio will be publishing on our website some of the best big Sunday read that we got from Dr. Alex Magaisa. One of the best comments that I saw in his BSR some time ago was when he commented on Change Radio, saying this is the best thing that the opposition has done in terms of media, or trying to penetrate to all the people of Zimbabwe. He was actually referring to the use of WhatsApp to spread the message of hope, the struggle message to the people of Zimbabwe. And I actually said, oh, Dr. Magaisa, this is really good. Even on the platform the other time when we're discussing with him and talking to him on Twitter Spaces, one of the many Twitter Space rallies that Dr. Alex Magaisa attended. I was actually amazed that he did comment on that. So those who are listening on Change Radio, this was commented, highly commented by Dr. Magaisa. So whoever is behind that, those who are writing the news, reading the news, you are doing a good thing. Dr. Magaisa said so. Barbara, as we round up, how can we honor honorable men like Dr. Magaisa, Dewa Mavinga, Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai, 𝐋𝐖𝙙𝙙𝙬 Tsvangirai, and many other people that have been taken away from us in this struggle?
Okay. Thank you so much, Chief. Before I come to that conclusion, I just wanted to share that the best Saturday, big Saturday read that I enjoyed most, Chief, was Mamvura. When Mamvura drove the bus, there's that saying, hanzi zviro zviedzwa Mamvura akatyaira bhazi. I didn't know the story behind that saying kuti yaibva nepi, kuti Mamvura rari benzi, yanga ribenzi raiswera richitenderera kwasadza growth point. When he was laying the facts, I could even see bhazi rakapakwa pasadza paya because ndonzi rakatienda kumusha. It used to be a very, very busy growth point, sadza growth point, but as it's no longer growing. Sadza is no longer growing. So, when he said, this man used to loiter around the Sadza growth point, and then he was saying, in one day I'll drive a bus. And then people said, hey, wow, you think you can drive a bus, which what? And then one day, a driver left the bus, ignition on, and then Mamvura got onto the bus, akasimza bus agaenda. And the people were saying, but the story ended good, because it had a good ending in that Mamvura managed to stop the bus. So he managed to stop the bus, and the people were relieved. And then but Mamvura drove the bus. Whilst people were saying, and he was also saying, this is a motivational BSR Chief, in that.
Can you remove the banner, Leo? Go ahead, Baba.
It's a motivational story, Chief. Yokuti, people should not, they should should always try something new, because it's like people always say, Ajiti. Right now, there are people who are doubting 2023, kuti mukomana anopinda sei vachiriga. Vanoriga sei usina kuvhota. Vanotadza kuriga sei iwe usina kuvhota. The reason why they rig is because you don't vote. So zviro zviedzwa, go and vote. And that's not the end of it, Chief. I also wanted to pay tribute to Dr. Magaisa. Inini personally, I was humbled, Chief, when one day I woke up on Twitter and then I saw my name. And then I was tagged by Magaisa. Then what? And then Magaisa was saying he was actually paying tribute to the women who were who were doing great works in the struggle, Chief. And I happened to be one of them. And I was saying, wow, now I have a legacy, and I see I'm there. I'm part of those women, the likes of Wana Maikore, Wana Morini, Wana Joanna Mamombe, Wana Gladys Tlachuayo. There's also Wana Advocate Mahere, Wana this lady Chennai, Wana Memory, Wana Wana Lynette, the list is Wana Sungi Alice, Dark Force, Chiera Stasi, Netai Maroa, and then there is also Yvonne Maslunge, Patricia Chinyoka, Lynn, and Barbara Tajanyu. I was so happy, Chief, to say, people are seeing the great works that I'm doing. I never thought I was doing something great until I saw this tweet from Magaisa, and I'm going to keep it, Chief, as a way of remembering and honoring Dr. Magaisa, to say, we as women, we usually at Oneki, we are like those what you call the crew behind the scene. I think it's because of that adage, not behind every successful every successful man there is a woman. I think we should change that adage to say beside every successful man there is a woman, because here behind doing it, but Magaisa managed to take us from behind, akatisa forefront as women, and acknowledged our works. And we really appreciate, on behalf of every woman, and after our spokesperson, on behalf of every woman who is fighting for the independence of Zimbabwe, who is fighting for the struggle, every woman who is doing something for the struggle, I say big up, I say bravo. Let's continue working. Even in the liberation struggle, although they were unsung heroes, we have women who were in the forefront. Vakadonedza ndege, but vanhu vakati vakuda kuvadonedza vakanza vana kudonedza ndege, just because there were some people who wanted to take advantage of the situations. Yes, we are there. We are always unsung heroes, but we are heroines in a way. And I really appreciate that tweet, Chief. And this is part of the way forward that I'm also putting forward to everyone. We have to make sure that we attain a state power for the sake of people like Dr. Magaisa, people like Dewa, President Tsvangirai, Wana Patson Zamara, Wana Itai Zamara, you name them. There are a lot of people who have died. Wana Susan Tsvangirai, they died for this struggle. They wanted to see a new Zimbabwe, but they couldn't. But now is the time. We have Isu Sutasara, Anzikwasari Isu. Chief, we have a role to play. We have to make sure that 2023 we attain state power on behalf of the departed souls. So many people that died for this struggle. This struggle will never be complete before we attain power. 2023, mukomana anotofanira kupinda. Inini newe tine basa. What are you doing wherever you are? Tell people to register to vote. Tell people to vote for change. Yesterday I was on another platform. It's in politics. And the Yakazarama South Africans, I told them that you are the game changers. You have to go back home and vote or register to vote and then vote. Vote in your numbers and you will see they will even fail to rig, chief. They are rigging because vanhu vaya vasingavhoti ndo vari kutorwa wondovhoterwa. That's the only rigging that is there. Hapana rigging inomboshamisa chief. That's the rigging that they're using. It means they're taking advantage of people in Zimbabwe. They don't want to vote. So you vote in numbers and vote for change. You know, make sure that you unokoshesa vote yako. Your vote is your right. Vote inokuita kuti utaure. And gonna chief now. We are talking about Zimbabwe because we have registered voters. We are registered voters. If you are not a registered voter, you don't have a voice and you don't have the right to talk when you are not registered. Unotaura chii usina kuregister kuvote.
Wow. So, yeah, thank you very much, Barbara, for that. And I actually respected Dr. Magaisa when he started posting those prominent women in our struggle. You know, that was a masterpiece. We really needed that. Many women in the struggle, but very few compliments and appreciations going to them. How do we honor men like this as we conclude? If you, I don't know if people can see on my phone, it will be very difficult. You can't read, can you?
It's not clear, Chief.
Not clear. Okay. So what I'm just trying to say is when Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai died, when he passed away, the following day I put on my WhatsApp status that we will finish the struggle, Save. And up until today, that status has stayed. I never changed it. I only edited it when I added to that statement saying we will finish the struggle, Save and Dewa. That was after Dewa Mavinga passed on. These are prominent people that I was connected to, and I told myself that this is what I am going to do on my part to honor these honorable men, that I am going to do everything possible to make sure that we free Zimbabwe for change. In my own small way, if you can remove the banner. In my own small way, I said I will contribute what I can as a Zimbabwean to ensure that we free Zimbabwe in honor of these men who have gone before they saw a new Zimbabwe. And I want to say it again. Now I'm going to add Dr. Magaisa so that there are three prominent men that I knew were committed to this struggle. Of course, there are many more, but to all Zimbabweans, let's make this struggle personal. You rarely see me or hear me using the word I, but I was using the word I because I'm trying to inspire one person here, one man here, one woman here, to begin to personalize this struggle and make a bet, tell yourself that I am going to do my part in this struggle. I am going to contribute financially, physically, or otherwise to ensure that Zimbabwe is free for change. We cannot let down these men and women, these gallant men and women. The only way we are going to thank them for what they did, for what Dr. Magaisa did in his life, is for us to finish this struggle. Let's finish this struggle, folks, so that, the people will realize, what Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai died for. The people of Zimbabwe will begin to enjoy what Dr. Magaisa, what the likes of Dewa, Tonderai Ndira, and many others that have been killed in this struggle died for. Thank you very much, Zimbabweans, for watching. We appreciate you. To the family of Dr. Magaisa, tunoti isu vekuchange radio neZim-I nematambudziko ngatichemei yedu netariro. May the soul of our legend Dr. Alex Tawanda Magaisa rest in power.
Yebo siyabonga Mthwakazi omuhle. Yebo besikhumbula ke iqhawe lethu uDr. Alex Tawanda Magaisa, yena osishiye ngesonto. Ngakho umsebenzi ochiwe nguMagaisa uchiyelwe mina lawe. Ngakho ke mina lawe sokumele siqhubekele phambili, sisiya phambili lomzabalazo, sibona ukuthi sizaletha uzibuse eZimbabwe ukwenzela ukuthi phela umoya oka Alex Magaisa labanye bonke abasebasitshiyayo abagoqela umongameli wethu uRichard Tsvangirai, oDewa and the like, ukwenza ukuthi phela balale ngoxolo nxa sesithethe uzibuse iZimbabwe isibuyile ebantwini. Ngakho mina lawe asilomsebenzi, asisebenzenini. Sikhuthaza njenge-Change Radio leZim-I, sikhuthaza bonke abantu abangakaregister ukuyavota bahambe bayeregister. 2023 asambeni phela siyevota ngobunengi, sikhiphe uhulumende lo wabahuquluzi, uhulumende wamasela, uhulumende ungelandaba labantu, uhulumende obulalayo, uhulumende othatha abantu ngodlakela. Singakhohlwa phela udadewethu uMoblessing Ali, lapho simbeka enkosini, sicela enkosini ukuthi simbone aphenduke esaphila. Sicontinue simdinga, sisithi ama-forced disappearances they are a violation of human rights. Ngakho ke sithi bring back Moblessing Ali. Siyabonga.